It is Thursday evening. I am wondering how you are doing this evening. I'm standing in this experience today of having had a really rich full day, chock full of moments of joy, moments of introspection, moments of aha, wow, I hadn't looked at it like that before, and or I couldn't quite see it from that point of view before. And so something developed, and then all of a sudden that information unlocked or clicked together something that, sort of like a Tetris, if you will, where all of a sudden something made sense that didn't make sense before. And so that I could solidify that stopping place, that place that normally gets in my way, that I normally allow myself to take myself out of the game. So really, sitting in that place and tuning in to places where I've never been before, exploring this idea of being centered and present in my body and present in each moment, and how much of a practice that is, because I've been in hypersensitivity mode and reaction mode for so long. But that high stress, excuse me, that high stress intensity, the chemical stuff that is going on and surging through the body when we're in that reactive mode, when we're in that, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God mode, when it's so intense that our body isn't functioning. So I'm now, living in this place of, wow, I had no idea to the extremes that I had taken myself so far out of alignment, so far into damage, for lack of a better term, and understanding that the repair of that, or the transformation and transcendence of what that has looked like, is now being given a new life, a new look, a new outlook, a new sense of what that means. Because I was talking yesterday about how, great, I was looking at goals yesterday from 2012, and in 2020 they're the same thing. They're the same thing that I haven't quite gotten over the hill of, if you will. And so instead of bumping up against the hill and rebounding and rebounding and rebounding, it all of a sudden becomes clear that there's another path. That all of a sudden something opens up, and I can now, discernibly see what I've been missing by hitting that wall over and over again, in that place of, I don't understand what the heck's going on. If I could just only figure this out. And of course, we don't do things like this, like ram into the wall over and over again because we like it. But I think sometimes it becomes habitual and familiar. Certainly for me, this feels comfortable. I use that term really loosely because it's not at all comfortable. When I check in with my body, it's painful. It's painful. It's troubling. It's intense. It's off balance. It's anything but harmonious. And yet I've been living in that hypersensitive, waiting for things and being reactive to life, and really understanding, just by even forecasting what feelings I'm going to have during the day, the states of being that I'd like to be throughout the day, has brought me to a new level of awareness of just how we really do design our lives. And I'm new at this, right? Like I'm watching content and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I have so much to learn, and I have so far to go, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I feel like a fish out of water, and I'm not sure about a few things. And the truth is, this is hard, to tell myself the truth, and it's hard to take a look at myself and even, have any kind of level of desire to actually take action towards those things. Now, when I compare today to 3 weeks ago, when I just started to polish off my, oh my gosh, I have a long-term vision. I've always had a long-term vision, but for a while there I was sort of wandering around on my path, kind of unclear about the direction I was going and how I was going to get there. And then all of a sudden, ping, the clarity became clearer, but the passion ignited. And I was so excited, and it was so new and fresh. And I was like, woo, I want to be this forever. I want to be this high all the time. And then learning quite quickly how life adjusts itself so that I also understand that there's more work to be done. When all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, the steps that I've put into place are absolutely implementing the next step and the next step and the next step. But all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, the now part of me is calling for a different part of me. It's pulling in a different way. It's asking for a little more. And that's usually when I go, oh, well, that's nice. I think I have something else to do. Must have something else to do. Something needs to be cleaned, does it not? Laundry needs to be done. The list of things that I have going on that I have to complete. And if I don't complete those things, and I take my focus and my energy off of what it is that I was sure that I wanted, because it got too hard, because I failed a few times, because I let myself down a few times, because I didn't stay completely aligned to what it is that I said that I was going to do. I started falling off in some of the places that I was really strong in that first week, that second week, that third week. All of a sudden in the fifth week, I think that I was supposed to do something. I can't quite remember what it is. I'm not organized enough to figure it out. Must not be that important. Move on to tomorrow, and then find out all of a sudden, isn't that interesting? I'm all of a sudden 3 or 4 days behind in something that I was being really honorable to. So instead of saying to myself, well, way to go, loser, you have done it again. I knew it. I knew you couldn't stay on track. I knew that you couldn't do it. To, T, wonder what's going on for you. What is that? What's that thing underlying that response? Have you taken a look? Are you willing to take a look? Are you willing to be gentle and kind to yourself while you're taking a look? Somewhere along the line, we seem to have picked up this, crazy response of being mean and agitated with ourselves over not getting it right. Instead of giving ourselves the grace to get back on track and allow ourselves to continue the momentum building in that direction that we're clear is the most important to us. And the clarity that I had 3 weeks ago is not less clear today, but it is shrouded with some of the stuff that I've come up against, that I haven't quite been able to move past, that I haven't quite been able to tell myself the truth about, that I haven't quite been able to master moving around in the direction that I'd like to go, strategizing on how I'm going to do that, instead of just continually bumping up against the same stuff over and over again and going, why is this not working? Must be me. Must be it. Must be something. But it's in the curiosity, in the dance of, so if it isn't, or if I don't know what it is, how do I find out? All right, listen. Listen to myself. Listen to my body. Start to tune in. These are new things for me because I never knew, that I could, and I didn't ever give myself permission to do that. Because I've been hustling for my worth since I was little. Since as far back as I can remember, I was, please give me my worth. Please give me my worth. If you could just love me, if you could just tell me that I'm worth something, then I will feel worth something. And the problem is when you're trying to fill a bottomless hole, a bottomless pit from an external source, it will never be satiated. And so while I'm, on this trek and I've got a whole bunch of stuff to do and I'm negating doing some of it, But miraculously, I'm also going to find the newest, best, and most probable solution in another product, in another thing, in another experience, in another time, other than the time that I already know that I could be allocating to this thing that at one point in time was important. Why did it all of a sudden become unimportant or less important? Am I being careless with my investments, with my time? Have I worked out yet a strategy to keep myself in a framework for participation? Am I continually coming up against my stuff and looking at it from the point of view of, now that's interesting. I have a really strong position on that. And my position is I'm right because we like to be right. But I remember my dad used to say, would you like to be right or happy? Because you can't be both. And that just used to piss me off. A lot of things he said pissed me off. And now that I'm older and a little wiser, I suppose, I'm getting the idea that this is a lifelong journey, that this is the place that I'm at right now. Where I was is where I was, and it does not have to define where I go from here. It's kept me bumping up against stuff and playing small in so many areas of my life because I was always looking outside myself for my worth. Please, sir, give me some worth, please, please. And when we come at it from that point of view, it is a gaping hole that will never be filled. And the experience that I had 3 weeks ago in living in complete alignment with my goals, my vision, my mission, my calling, feeling completely aligned to that and being really, really, really integral to it. That invoked this visceral experience of aliveness and creativity in my body. And I was living at those heights because I took myself there. And the only reason that started to spiral is because I stopped living at that level of integrity with myself. I maybe fell off in areas of loyalty to myself. I became unclear, a little confused, if you will, in resistance, really, to what needs to be said, what needs to be done, what needs to be processed. And then counterbalancing that with the grace of knowing that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. That today I'm feeling and experiencing all of the things that I need to. And as I dedicated to myself to get caught up today, and I did all of the work. Now, granted, it was a 3-day process that I did in 1 day. And so there is a lot of content that I've ingested at this point in time that I don't feel like I've digested. And that's why it's really important for me to stay on task when I say that I'm going to do something and do it according to what I've set out as the parameters of that and the expectations, the accountability, because it's so important. And I'm learning that there is like massive connections between food and the content that I ingest and then don't take a chance to digest. Food is very similar for me. And I don't know whatever your vice is, whether it's watching too much social media, smoking, toking, drinking, pilling. I don't care what it is. We all have a vice that we go to and we create too much of it so that it takes up so much space there isn't room for anything else. And then we fool ourselves into believing that that's what we're supposed to be doing. And so today I'm just taking a look at that. I'm being curious about that. I'm being introspective. And I'm getting through layers of honesty that I've never experienced before. And so for that, I'm very grateful. And so I really hope that somewhere in your day today that you experience some level of joy, that you were able to give some level of release, that you created opportunities for learning for yourself, and that you feel this magnetic love that I'm sending out to the world, because I feel it in my heart. And I know when I live more aligned to the purpose of sharing my gifts, and one of those is an intense ability to love people right where they're at. And now I'm giving myself the gift that I have so often given away so freely to others, to myself first. And when I start to fill that cup up from the inside, give myself the satisfaction of knowing all of the things that I accomplished today and going, yes, I did that. Me, I chose that. And it feels good. It's amazing. It's electric. Hope you try it out. So much love out there. Mwah. See you tomorrow.